Right, today on the film and TV channel, we're going to have a look at, a big budget. $165 million. That's quite a lot these days. But we're going to have a look at Dune, Dune, or Dune, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Also titled on screen as Dune Part 1. We're not too sure about Part 2, though, but we'll be more on that in a bit anyway. So we're going to have a look at that, please. If you can give us a little thumbs up if you enjoy what I do and push that notification button, that'd be absolutely brilliant. 155 minutes, this one. Say that's not a bad budget. I mean, a lot, even the big films we've been looking at, and obviously that's quite high. 12A certificate, science fiction film directed, of course, by Denis Villeneuve, with a screenplay by John Spates, Villeneuve, and Eric Roth. It is the first of a planned two-part adaptation. It's one of these things that you just don't understand. Perhaps you don't have the bottle. I don't know what happened with COVID, etc., to do two at one go and actually get them done. Obviously, the cost effectiveness of that is something to recognise. But at the moment, it is the planned two-part adaptation, but with no information at all on part two of this. And of course, it's based on the 1965 novel of the same name. I've read the books. I think I've read them all. It's that long ago now. I must have read them about 30 years ago. I can't remember if I've actually read them all. Obviously, I read things about being quite complicated. I don't think they were overly complicated at the time. But obviously, this film primarily covers the first half of the book, the name Dune, so for the first book in a series. So I'm not too sure how many there are. It is set in the far future. It follows, of course, Paul Atreides as he and his family, the noble house Atreides, are thrust into a war for the dangerous desert planet Arrakis between the native Fremen people and the enemy invaders. And former rulers of Arrakis, of course, the House Harkonnen. Yeah, it's all a mishmash in it. Game of Thrones, Star Wars, lots of different things thrown in. It still starred a big cast. Yeah, you got Timothy Chalamet, you got Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Zendaya, David Dast Malkian, Chang Chen, Sharon Duncan Brewster, Charlotte Rampling, Jason Momoa, and Javier Bardem, and Uncle Tom Cobley, and all in this one. Lots and lots of people. All my little scores now and reviews I'm going to give you as at the 24th of October 2021 at 5 p.m. So just it may have changed, obviously, when you're watching this, depending when you're watching it, of course. Rotten Tomatoes, 83% positivity, approval rating, which isn't too shabby, is it? That's based on 319 reviews as I'm doing this. An average rate of 7.7 out of 10, which is very, very healthy indeed. 265 fresh and 54 rotten. So a fair chunk of rotten. Matthew Bond was not a fan, and he's not alone. There are a few dissenters. He's from the Mail on Sunday here in the UK, and he said, "There's a sense of having seen too much of this sort of thing before." Well, I mean, it's only so much, it is what it is. It's science fiction. We're not going to create a new, within a genre. We're not going to create a totally new storyline, are we? I mean, obviously we have seen similar things, of course, but it's just how well these things are done, isn't it? And whether you invest in the characters and you enjoy it. So I can see his point, but it's a bit of a silly thing to say, really. But Kate Austin Collins is in the majority. He's with the Rolling Stone. He went on to say about it, Villeneuve's Dune is a thick, loud, well-fed spectacle of a movie, towering over the people in it with brooding sense of intention, even in its quieter moments, even when wrestling through the Herbert novel's wide-ranging, learned, quirky mysticism. I was at a stage, obviously I was probably late 20s, 30 when I read this, so I'm probably okay. There's things like Lord of the Rings that I sort of put down and picked up again and got more out of it. But I think I enjoyed Dune for as many books there were. So yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the website's critics' consensus for Rotten Tomato reads, Dune occasionally struggles with its unwieldy source material, but those issues are largely overshadowed by the scope and ambition of this visually thrilling adaptation. The Rotten Tomatoes audience, well, they're not too shabby either. 4.5 out of 5, so that equates to 9 out of 10, which is healthy. Metacritic, the other little critic site we look at, an average of 75 out of 100. Again, very similar to Rotten Tomatoes. That's based on 58 critics. And it's 47 positive, 10 mixed, and 1 negative. So there is negative. but it did score anywhere between 42 and 100 out of 100. USA Today's Brian Truitt, he gave it 63 out of 100, which is okay, but he wasn't overly gushing on it. He said, the sci-fi epic Dune boasts a new films with giant sandworms, amazing spaceship, cosmic armies, and galactic political drama, though it essentially is only half a movie. It is, it's part one. There you go. Slash film Marshall Shaffer, he gave it 90 out of 100. Audiences deserve to see the conclusion of an action film so immaculately crafted and patiently paced, one that's more focused on inspiring reverent amazement through the simplicity of durable storytelling structures rather than the complexity of cinematic universe building. Yes, I quite like that, as I say, because there's quite a lot of these. I don't know who's having a bit of a dig at there, but there is quite a lot of that going on, and it sort of ruins it for me just a little bit. The users on Metacritic, 8.2 out of 10. So again, they love it. And the important one, isn't it? Well, this is a strange one. It's not a strange one. I mean, because it's a cracking mark, even allowing for this. But Internet Movie Database, it's averaging 8.3 out of 10. But yeah, if you look at the 10 out of 10s, there's 40,927 10 out of 10s. And they're not all connected with the film, are they? I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong. I think the people that desperate to see a sci-fi, they're going to give it 10 out of 10. But it's very. Don't get me wrong. I'll tell you now. I thought it was very good, but I don't know where 10 out of 10 comes from. There's 2,315. Just give it 1 out of 10. But even if you take that out, the total is 115,819 reviews have scored it anywhere between 2 and 9 out of 10. And of that 115,819, 108,990. So a massive 94% have scored it anywhere between 6 and 9. So as I say, that percentage does go up if you add the 10 out of 10s in. Say they vastly outweigh the 1 out of 10s. That's for sure. But anyway, Internet Movie Database, Joe Public, yeah, they seem to like it, don't they? Right, my little thoughts. Yeah, it is a bit of a travesty that part 2 isn't sealed away somewhere, to be honest with you, and wasn't produced with part 1. But like I said, whether this was a COVID thing or I just think it's a big mistake. I think obviously film companies perhaps have to be careful at these times what they're doing and what they're spending money on. But it does leave too much unsaid and unanswered, which is very disappointing. I remember watching the Lord of the Rings animated adventure, not the main one, obviously, but back in the day. And I know how frustrated I was that obviously that was only part of the story. They had hoped to continue it, but obviously cost-wise they couldn't do it. So that was very, very disappointing. Obviously, years later we got the live action sequence, but that animated Lord of the Rings, I loved it. I really did. I wanted there to be a part 2, and it just sort of part 2 or 3 and 3, but it never just happened. But this, yeah, it's a big mistake. I think there's too much unanswered in this. You get to the end. Yes, it's a film. It's obviously a lot of films are set up for sequels anyway, but it is a little bit disappointing. It ruined it just a wee bit for me watching this trilogy. As I said, I love the books. I thought the books were great. It was a long time ago. I do think I read them all, but it's the sort of thing I may go back and read, or perhaps get them on audio book or something like that. I do get a lot of that as well. But so my memory on what happens in those books has faded slightly. But this does sort of simplify the action down a bit. It's complicated, as I said. I can't remember now. I don't think it was too overly complicated. But a sort of Star Warsy type package. This and. I mean, it's just basic, fun fantasy storytelling for me with a bit of a darkness to it, which I like. A bit more adult as well. It's perhaps a little bit more adult, of course, than Star Wars, which had its dark moments. But there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, this is excellent. I say all the combinations of the things that we've seen from other films, and why not? It's a science fiction story. When I read science fiction books, I get similar things that. In threads through the books all the time, so I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah, talking about the 1984 Dune film, I did really enjoy that. I watched it quite a few times back in the day. I've not seen it for a long time, and I must admit I'm inspired now to go back and watch it again, having watched this, and I think that just got 6.4 out of 10 on Internet Movie Database, which is a fair enough score. But I said I did really like that, and it certainly didn't put me off this one. I had no disrespect for this one because I did like the 84 one. I thought this was a job well done. This is probably big budget sci-fi at its best. It'll appeal to lots of people. It'll appeal to a younger audience as well as an older audience like me, you know. But there was something missing, just something. I mean, yeah, the effects were okay. Someone said it's great on the big screen. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't quite impress me. I mean, the sandworms, for one thing, were a bit of a letdown. I wasn't inspired by it. Obviously, in the original movie, and obviously you can imagine that it just didn't feel right in this film. They just didn't feel that scary enough, or when you saw them come in the distance, I wanted to be a bit more apprehensive, but I wasn't, unfortunately. And it's nice to see that a couple of you got the baddies, of course, you've got the goodies, and it's nice to see a couple of the goodies are sort of killed off as well, which is always good. It keeps you on your toes when that sort of thing happens. But there you go. Yeah, I do like this. I do like this a lot. So I'm not sure, as I said, where all the 10 out of 10s are coming from, because I don't think it's even Empire. Obviously, Empire, the magazine there, and Total Film, which I also subscribe to. Both of those organs give it 10 out of 10, which is a bit weird. I'm sorry, it is a bit weird. As I said, are we that desperate to get a half-decent sci-fi that we're going to score it ridiculously? It is a very, very good film. Lots of great characters, a lot of investable characters. You like some, you don't like some, and that's all the whole idea of it. You got your evil baddie that you want, obviously, bad things to happen to. But yeah. Well, it's a bit strange. I don't know why I say it, just a bit over the top for me, 10 out of 10, to be honest with you. But a very good movie, with or without a sequel. Obviously, would I have scored it better with a sequel? Not particularly, because I'm scoring it on the basis of this film. And yeah, there's a lot of questions to be answered. But I'm going to give it a good, healthy, very good. And I think this is more reasonable, 7.5 out of 10. I think it's more in that ball court than 10 out of 10s or anything like that, which I think is over-egging it just a little bit for what it is. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It's good quality sci-fi, and you don't always say that these days. A lot of B movie rubbish out there, and let's be honest about it. But this, yeah, all right, big budget, did well, but yeah, I'd be very, very disappointed if they don't get a part 2 out. But it's not going to happen anytime soon, is it? So. How long will we have to wait? We might get too bored by then. I might go back and read all the books by then and think, I'm not bothered. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think if you get to see this. To say it is a cinema film. It is a great film to watch at the cinema. The length is fine as well. It didn't feel overly long, so that's great. That's always a good sign. 2 hours 15 minutes, 2 hours 20 minutes, something like that. So that's always a good sign of a film. It's long, but it doesn't feel long, and it didn't. It was well put together. As I say, it was well balanced, well written. And yeah, some critics said it was boring in part. I didn't think it was particularly boring. I thought it was quite interesting. The verbal bits in it were just interesting. I think, say, some critics had a downer on it, saying it was just boring. I don't know where as in I don't know where they get 10 out of 10s from. I don't know where they really get those comments from either. Perhaps they don't like science fiction, but you shouldn't be reviewing a film if you don't like science fiction or fantasy, should you? Let's be honest about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Whatever you're going to do, rest day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families, more important. Let's all look after each other. Until we meet here again on the Film and TV channel, or please have a check out my Citizen channel, my football channel on my team, Manchester City, if you get a chance. But if you're not interested in that, don't worry, there's loads of film and TV stuff. Come back and join me very soon. I only ask one thing, please stay safe, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.